Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial about Substance Designer, and this time we're gonna try to create a knitting pattern for things like garment, sweater, or socks. So what we have here to start with is basically a transformation 2D as a rerod. Still don't know why designer doesn't have a rerod. This is really weird. Anyway, we have normal map connected to the tangent 2D and transformation 2D, and that goes to the normal map. We also have the transformation 2D directly connected to head map, and we also route it through a ambient occlusion that goes to a AO output. Okay, and we have roughness and base color all connected to a grayscale color, and we have eventually metallic as black. Okay, those guys are just frames including the words. Okay, so that's the basic structure I'm adapting with so that I can easily go to, like, this lane is for shape, so I can build all my shapes through this lane, and eventually the shape will be governing the normal height and AO. Right, so we can start with something simple. We can start with the base shape of a knitting pattern. So the closest thing we can think of is actually the waveform, because it's like a form, right? Actually, that goes connected to there already. So I'm gonna go change the pattern number to none so that we have the very solid version, no noise, just one wave, of course. Okay, and then maybe very high samples, size mean and max can go closer to each other. You can see what I'm trying to build here is basically a little section of a knitting pattern. Okay, and now I wanted to give it some gradient on the edge, so I'm gonna go create a shape here, and this shape will basically having a nice fall off, so we can try this one. Okay, the paraboloid, I don't know what that is, so let me go ahead and do a blend here and take a look at the multiplication of those two things. Okay, holding down shift and drag that over to reconnect. If it does that, no, not doing that. Okay, so let me just reconnect them. Okay, go all the way to the other end. All right, cool. So after this, I'm gonna go create a transformation 2D and just make it smaller by holding down Control Shift and drag that corner, and then go to tiling mode and tile it to not tiling, because I don't really want it to be tiling by any means. So I'm gonna go for a blur high quality grayscale to blur it. Okay, this is what I'm getting. Let's change the scene to a plain Harris to take a look at that. All right, now you can see what I'm trying to build here, right? I can maybe use the transformation to flatten it, and that's closer to like a little part of a knitting pattern. Right. Now I want it to be a little bit arced, so I'm gonna try to use this rough mapper, shape mapper actually. So I'm gonna remap the shape so that it's into a circle, so that it's circling, and I'm gonna change the pattern number to 3. This one is better than using a directional warp, because directional warp will actually squeeze the bottom part too much and not that much on the top. This one does a better job on keeping the gradient. So I'm gonna change the rotation to all the way to this bottom side, and so that way I can have one on the top and the other two on the two corners. To make them thicker, I'm gonna change the width to be something bigger, lower down the radius, of course. Okay, all right. And then I'm gonna go get part of it. I'm gonna do a blend node here. Whoops. Right. So for that blend node, I'm gonna go create a shape node above it. Okay. And then I'm gonna change the size on the Y to 0.5. And then the transformation 2D, and then connect that to the blend. I'm gonna use a let's try multiply. Yeah. And then I can just use transform to move it so that it's basically subtracting the bottom two, then giving me just this one. Now some people may argue, why don't you just do this? Because there is a setting here if you use the top one, and then you do the clipping, right? That could work actually. The bottom clipping, top clipping, it's gonna be somewhere. Oh, actually, we're not seeing this. We're gonna use copy, and then we can do bottom clipping to clip that. Okay, that could work. Just don't forget to change it to 16-bit, because if you don't change that, you see this weird staring. Okay, so be aware that that problem. So you can go to the tiling mode and say, okay, I'm gonna not there actually. change the output format to absolutely 16-bit to get rid of that problem. Okay, so either way. All right, so we have this guy now. I'm gonna go try to transformation it by using transformation 2D, and I'm gonna drag it down, of course, and make it bigger. All right, holding on shift and drag it down. All right, and then I'm gonna do another transformation 2D, oops, here, and I just wanted to be able to rotate it. I don't know, this much actually, and of course I don't need it to be tiling, so no tiling here. Okay, that's gonna be my base element to repeat. All right, so let me go ahead and pile that into a tile sampler. Oops, not that one. Tile sampler, and this one goes to here, and that goes to the pattern input, and of course we're gonna tell it to use the input. Okay, I don't need it to be repeating on the X. For the Y, maybe not that much either. I'm gonna go for 4. Okay, and then in the size, I'm gonna lower down the size X so that it's pretty much the size I'm getting from this, proportion. Okay, and then we can change the scale to make them bigger, somewhere like here, maybe. All right. Now you can see it's not quite perfect, especially like I kind of wanted to be able to say, okay, I want this part to go down a little bit on this edge. Now we could do that in here. So one thing I'm gonna do here is do a blend here in the middle, and I'm gonna blend it with a gradient linear. Okay, and then I'm gonna rotate it, of course, so 270. Okay, drag that over here. We do a multiplication, right? So that way we're basically making that part lower. All right. And I don't want it to be like subtracting that much, so I'm gonna go give it a curve node in the middle. For the curve node, I'm gonna try to remap this gradient so that it's not that harsh, and it's harsher in the beginning and not that harsh for the top. So basically, I'm trying to have some lesser subtraction on this part and more on the other part. Maybe even not that much. Okay, but I want to keep the top still nice and shine. Maybe this part can go down actually. All right, so we have the other end also goes a little bit darker. That way this part can blend better. Okay. Okay. I also kind of wanted to have this shape's top, this little corner to dig in a little bit. We can do that by using directional warp. Directional warp here, and we're warping it with a shape. This shape can be whatever, so this guy, of course, that goes to here, and of course I'm gonna go do a transformation 2D here so that I can move it over here. I don't want it to be tiling, so absolutely no tiling. All right, so that way I can use this guy to push the corner in. Let's see, the transformation 2D is pushing actually the directional warp, I want it to be pushing actually this way. Okay, all right, so now we're able to push the corner. You can see the difference is that they're actually slightly getting pushed in. Without transformation 2D, you got this, so it's more flat. With transformation 2D, you're pushing that corner in a little bit on the edge just to make it feel a bit more closer to what I'm looking for. But the looking of the shape here, I think maybe I wanted to have a bit more blurry edge, so I'm gonna change that. All right, cool. Okay, so in the tile sampler, of course, we don't want it to be that uniform. Kind of wanted to say, okay, maybe I wanted to have a little bit more variation on the scale, so do that. Okay, and then we can do just slightly a little bit. That's too much. 0.1 too much. 0.01, so that the position is not exactly. We can holding down the left mouse here and just use the middle mouse wheel to tweak that number. Okay, I found that's really helpful for subtle changes. Substance Designer has the worst numbers. Like it's really hard to tweak sometimes. Like even a little bit change will make it move too much, so it's super sensitive. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the color part, which is here. I'm gonna change the color random all the way, not all the way up to 1, maybe just a little bit. All right, cool. So let me see. Maybe I can have just a bit more scale random, a little bit more scale. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do a transformation 2D here. Oops, put it in here actually. That goes to here, and that goes to here. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna have a duplication. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to blend those two together. So this one will be flipped to the other side. That means I'm gonna go click on this guy, and then I'm gonna do a blend to blend these two together. Doesn't matter which one goes to top. Holding on Shift and drag that over. Okay, the blending mode will be the max Latin. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to this transformation 2D and just slightly drag it down, so that way you can see it's almost like the kneading I'm looking for. Okay. All right. So go back here. I'm thinking maybe that one was like moving too much, so I'm gonna try to lower down the size random, so that it's not doing too much crazy stuff. We still got some variations, even on the brightness part. Okay, so that's basically a kneading pattern now. All right, so I'm gonna go grab all these things and do a frame. I'm gonna call this guy kneading base. Okay, so for a complicated kneading, not just you have this middle one, you have two more rows on the side. So that's something I want to do here. So to do that, I'm gonna go get this one I'm using earlier. So I'm gonna do a transformation 2D here to have a reroute node basically. Transformation 2D is my reroute. Sometimes people use blend as the reroute, or whatever level. So different people have different habit. Anyway, so I'm gonna use transformation 2D here. I'm gonna create a blend after it. Okay, for this blend, this is gonna be actually in the foreground. I'm gonna disable that input by doing Alt click. I'm gonna change it to absolutely 16-bit, and I'm gonna try to cut out the left or the right. So maybe 1, actually not 1, 0.5. Right, so we're cutting half of it out. The reason we're doing that is because I need to actually flip it to the other side. So this one will go this way, okay? And then we blend those two together with a blend add. Now I just need to go here and tweak how much I'm moving it. So somewhere until it's all connected. That's actually, this kind of like result does require you to, if I can just drag it. Really carefully. I should be able to just drag it. Only up and down. Okay, well this is pretty good already. I just need to go up just a little bit. So let me try to use this. Maybe 1, and then I can use the middlemost well to, oh, I can actually, guys, I have to be really careful. Anyway, so that should be good enough. I barely see anything. So this is gonna be the base of my second kneading kind of like a pattern here. All right. Anyway, now the reason I can do this is because the gradient here and gradient here are the same, and that's all thanks to this shape mapper. If you were to use that directional warp, it's not gonna work. Okay, you can try that. Anyway, we have this guy now, and let's just go create a transformation 2D. Okay, so that I have a reroute. Don't know why I really want that. Anyway, so I'm gonna go path it through a tile sampler this time. Okay, and that goes to the pattern input. I'm gonna change it to pattern input here. I'm gonna lower down the X amount. And Y maybe 4 again. Okay, so this time I'm gonna do the same trick. So scale X goes down until I got similar proportion. And then I'm gonna change the scale up. Okay, maybe it says X can be down a little bit more. Okay, you know, I don't quite like that result. Let me see if we can rotate it. So I'm gonna go to the rotation here. Yeah, this feels better. Okay, so maybe rotate that much. All right, that's gonna give me another kind of like a kneading effect. I'm gonna change, or more or less like a rope, right? So I'm gonna change the transformation or the scale here just to have some little bit of a random on the scale. Color input can be scale and drag that up, so the smaller thing will be darker. Of course, we introduce some color random also in the process. All right, cool. And I think that should be the thing. So all we have to do here is do another transformation 2D here. I'm gonna make it twice as small and go to the tiling mode and change it to only tiling on the vertical direction. Okay, and we can also drag it over so it's on the side, and we do a mirror command. Actually, I don't want mirror because they're the same, they're the offset directions, so maybe I do a transformation 2D so that I can rotate it this way and then blend it together with that. I'm gonna do a add. All right, and then we do a blend. Actually, we can do maybe try height blend this time. So this one will be on top and this one will be on the bottom, and we holding on shift and drag it over here. All right, and then I can go to the height offset and drag it so that this one is on top while the others is on the bottom. Okay, because you can see some blur here. That's because the contrast. Drag that all the way up to 1. All right, cool. So that should be the setup. We can go grab this guy and do a auto level just to bring up the level. Okay, and then let's see how that looks like when we tile it. So I'm gonna go to the material and go to the edit. Tile it, I don't know, 6 times so you can see what this looks like. All right, or maybe you can take a look at that on the sphere or even a cylindrical shape. All right, now if it doesn't look strong enough, that can be maybe resolved by changing the intensity of the normal map, or we can change the ambient occlusion, make it stronger. Nonetheless, we should be able to have this really nice kneading effect. Okay, all right, so we can make them go, we can add something in the middle also if we want to do that. So maybe we create a wave generator here, and then we just tile it 3 times. Not sure how many do I need to do that. Do a blur high quality grayscale. So that's gonna be this guy, and then that goes to there, and then maybe that's okay. Not sure how far should I do that. I foresee, maybe I don't foresee that. Let's do a blend, or actually a height blend. And this one will be on top, this one on the bottom, holding on shift and drag it over. Right, now I'm gonna go to the height offset, drag it up so that that little kneading effect, wavering effect goes to the bottom. Okay, so let's see what kind of detail we can add. Maybe we can add some detail to this guy so that it does have some smaller fiber inside of it. Okay, so before I pass this guy along, I'm gonna create a blend in front of it. Okay, and for the blend, I'm gonna blend it with a fur node, and that fur node has to rotate. So I'm gonna go, oops, I don't have rotation, so I need to use transformation 2D to do that. And that goes to the top, and we do a multiplication, of course, to add some kneading effect. Of course, I need to go ahead and try to, you know what, I should have actually have done that here before I move on to the wrapper, of course. So that goes back here, and you goes to here, and you goes to here. Okay, so that way we're adding this kneading effect to this fabric, but of course it's too strong. It's like almost taking over. That's too much. We'll try to lower down opacity so that that kneading effect just will be living on top, so that we have this really nice, like almost like furry kind of like result because of the fur node. Okay, all right, that should be the basic setup for the kneading. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the video now and moving on to the next. Maybe we can talk about how we deal with some tweaking, maybe the color part. All right, cool, see you next time.